Welcome to our special Concordia Women's Soccer edition as we preview the NCAA tournament. They get ready for a first round matchup on Friday. They head to La Crosse to take on Illinois Wesleyan. Fresh off winning a conference tournament championship for the fourth time in program history, qualifying for the NCAA tournament for the third time. My name is Matt Menzel, being joined, at least in our first segment, with offense, and being joined by Selena Eston along with Isabel Downs and Jordan Lafferty. We'll talk defense coming up in our next segment, and then we'll be joined by the all-time winningest coach in program history, back for his 20th season, that being Ryan Middendorf. But let's start, and I'm going to ask each one of you about each of the tournament games. We'll begin with Selena. Let's start with the quarterfinal. So you guys play Edgewood. You come through with a 6-0 victory. What was the difference in that win against the Eagles?
I think coming into that game, all of us knew that it was a redemption game because when we played them during the season, we only beat them 1-0 with a goal that didn't really count in that game. So when we came into that game, we were all ready to win it. We knew what we had to do, and we came out and played.
Isabel, you guys then win that game against Edgewood. You head down to River Forest, Illinois. You face a Dominican team you guys beat for a tournament championship back in 2019. What happened down at River Forest?
Yeah, no, that game was super exciting. We had lost them earlier in the season, so we knew coming in it was going to be a fight, and we've been in that situation so many times with them that we were just really excited for a game, and I feel like it was one of the best games that we played.
What was key? You fall behind in that game 1-0, you bounce back and win the game 3-1. How are you guys able to, I guess, overcome that early blow?
I think the week before we had gone down against Oshkosh, and that was the first time we had gone down and come back. So I think just having that history with us and that experience, we knew that we could come back from it. So nobody put their heads down or anything. We just kept working.
Jordan, I get to ask you about the championship game on Sunday, battling the wind among other elements in the Windy City, and you guys take care of Illinois Tech 1-0. What happened on Sunday?
I think we were all really confident going in because I thought Dominican had been our best game of the season, and so I think we also knew that IIT ended our season last year, so we kind of wanted to get our revenge on them. But I think we all put in a really good fight and ended up with the result.
For all three of you, was Sunday challenging weather-wise? I mean, obviously we saw the winds when we look at 40-mile-an-hour winds. Did it feel like it playing out there? I mean, was that a factor at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think our coaches always prefer us to have the disadvantage in the first half, so if we come up, then we have an advantage in the second half. But, I mean, I know for a fact myself, I was gassed after the first half. The wind was brutal.
Selena, you're now 4-time all-conference selection. What does that mean to you?
I think it's just really exciting. I mean, I've been here 4 years, and I feel like every year I came in and put in the work that I need to do. It helps when I have a really great team to back me up and get me the ball up the field, but it's a great accomplishment.
Isabel, you're in that same boat. What's that mean for you?
Yeah, no, kind of along the same lines. It's great to be a part of that, but it's also the team put me in the position to be able to get that. So, yeah.
Jordan, you've been all conference now back-to-back years and seen your offensive plays elevate from year to year when it came to the assists, scoring goals now this year. What's been the difference for you? How have you been able to improve your game year after year?
I think, I first came in with an injury, and I was just, I think I've just progressed from there. I couldn't even run really that well my first season, and I think, my teammates have been giving me a lot of confidence, too, to become better.
Speaking of your teammates, how fun is it to play alongside this kind of a team where, yes, these two, along with Caroline Hogland, get a lot of the accolades, and rightfully so, with all the goals, but it's not just those three. It's the entire collection of players that have shown the ability to finish.
Yeah, I agree. It's so nice having so many different options, and I also know, my back line is so strong, and Brooke, obviously, in goal, I can go up and, I can always depend on them.
Selena, this season you've had 17 goals, 7 assists, and you've also had 6 2-goal performances. Is there one goal that stands out among the rest? They all kind of run together, blur together?
I think actually probably the first goal I had in the Oshkosh game, it was a corner kick from Bella Rapp, and I had a header, and I don't know, I think it's the hardest I've ever had a shot go in the goal this year, but it was just really nice because we were down that game, and then we ended up tying it from that, and felt really good.
Was that a miserable night too, weather-wise? Was that a rainy night in Oshkosh?
Yes, it was a rainy night.
How about for you? And you got injured early on.
Mhm.
Was that difficult then getting back into that full game speed once you came back?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I took a hard hit down and hurt part of my back, and then the worst part after that was I got COVID
Mm.
as I was getting better. But I mean, think with everyone on my back, like trying to get me back into the game, I had a lot of motivation to help me get through.
Isabel, same question. You so far this season, 17 goals, 8 assists. You've had 5 game-winning goals. You had 2 goals in that semifinal victory at Dominican. What stands out to you about your play this season? Or is there one goal that stands out among the rest?
I don't know, probably against Dominican. I mean, I think that was really exciting, and just like the build up for it was probably the best.
And for Jordan, so far this season with 5 goals, 7 assists, what stands out? Is there one game, is there one performance that stand out among the rest?
I think my Loris goal was like my most proud moment, just because like I had been working so hard on my free kicks, and for one to finally go in, and they were like ranked 3rd in the nation at the time, so that was pretty exciting for me.
This is a Falcon offense that right now, 63 goals, averaging over 16 shots per game. And again, we'll brag about the offense. Now we'll brag about the defense in a minute too, because they've been complimenting one another. And here we sit now, tournament champions, with the Falcons getting ready for Illinois Wesleyan. You two played in the NCAA tournament back in 2019. What do you remember about that experience, and what are you anticipating now this time around?
I think it was my freshman year when we went to the tournament. I definitely think we underestimated the play that we were going to have. We were really confident with the tournament win, so we kind of went in thinking that we could just breeze by, and I think it kind of hit us that if we really want to see ourselves going far in the national tournament, we've got to put more effort in.
I also think that year, like, we were just happy to like win our conference tournament, because like that hadn't happened for a while. So I think we were kind of complacent with that, but like I feel like this year going into it, like we want more than just like the conference win. So I think that's pretty exciting.
And 2019 being the first tournament championship since 2004. Did that game feel different, or did it feel like a typical soccer game?
It felt like a typical soccer game. I think we weren't ready for the pressure, but like Isabel just said, coming into this tournament game, we want it, and we think we have a chance, so we're going to put everything out there.
Jordan, this is your first opportunity to play in an NCAA tournament game. What are you anticipating?
I think Illinois Wesleyan's going to put up a really tough fight, but I think we can definitely pull through.
Does it help at all? Obviously, you still got to go out there and play, and it's not going to change win-loss, but just mentally, does it help being somewhat familiar with your foe? It's Illinois Wesleyan, a team you guys played just last year, versus a Wartburg team in 2019 where you guys kind of knew nothing about, at least going in. You hadn't seen them before, or even have any kind of a history against them before.
I mean, yeah, I think the last time we played them, we tied them in regular time, and they ended up taking us over in overtime. But I think for the fact that we've played them before in the past, and we saw what we could do against them then, I think we're much better as a team right now. So I think we have a better chance of winning that game this year.
Let me pick all 3 of your brains, your seniors, perhaps final go around. Does it feel like this is your senior year, that it's all out there now? You're trying to prolong this season. Is there that mindset, that determination to keep this season going? Does it feel like it's nearing an end?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I feel like for a while we've been like, taking every moment for what it is and like really enjoying that, and kind of like the mindset of like, oh, we don't have to practice another week, like we get to do that, and that's like such a privilege. And I feel like we've really been like taking that in this year.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like each game, I'm like, oh, like every game we've won, I'm like, oh yeah, we get like another week or another couple days. Like we just keep on like wanting to extend it, because, I mean, I really love this team. So.
And it seems like right now this team is in its stride at the right moment, healthy as well. How big has that been? Just getting on the same page, finally getting back to health. Is everybody in sync now? Is this team as in sync as they've been this season?
Yeah, I think so. We started off the season with a couple injuries. I know myself as well as Caroline were out for a bit, and then a couple other people along the line with like ankle sprains or like quad, hip flexors and all that. But I think like at this point in the season, we're all doing really well, and we know what we got to do.
To wrap it all up for each one of you, your keys, what do you think is going to be critical? What's key? What are you hoping to accomplish here this weekend, starting Friday with Illinois Wesleyan?
I think we want to go in and win. I think our team's effort is really the most important thing. I think everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, I mean, I think coming out of the weekend with 2 wins would be absolutely amazing. But I think even if we do lose, like as long as we know we put everything out on the line, I think we'll be happy with that.
I mean, we've been working really hard for this opportunity, so as long as we come out and play as hard as we've been working in these games, I think we'll be okay.
Selena, Isabel, Jordan, thanks a lot for your time. All the best this Friday. Illinois Wesleyan, the matchup first round NCAA tournament from lacrosse. When we continue on our women's soccer special, we turn our attention to defense. Welcome back to our Concordia Women's Soccer NCAA Tournament Special. They prepare for their third NCAA Tournament appearance and first since 2019. Illinois Wesleyan, the opponent coming up on Friday from lacrosse. And now turn our attention to Falcon defense, a defense that has recorded 14 shutouts and only allowed 15 goals the entire season, and be joined by goalkeeper Brooke Braga, along with Maddie Pirtle and Carmen Rowe. Let's start with you, Brooke, and just what's been key to this defensive success this season.
I would say the success is to these 2 girls right here. I mean, they are the ones that really need all the credit because I can only do so much, I feel, and they're the ones that are really helping me out and just not giving me those really difficult shots that I have to block.
I was going to say, how confident are you in that back line, in their play?
I'm very confident. I really enjoy working with these 2 girls and my outside backs, and I literally cannot do it without them because they are what keeps me going.
For you two, how nice is it having a player like Brooke behind you, and you know that if somehow somebody gets by you, Brooke more likely is going to make the save?
I think that's so important because me and Carmen have formed our confidence from having her behind us, and we have this mindset that we don't want to let the people go past us because we don't want her to have to save the shot. Like, we want to protect her because we have formed such a close bond, the 3 of us, and even with our outside backs too, that we want to protect her. So I think that that's proven our success this season.
Yeah, and honestly, having Brooke back there gives me just more confidence to go forward and help get up into the attack. That's helped me get some assists this year, being able to get forward because I know that if I make a mistake, I have Maddie and then I have Brooke there too, and I trust them completely.
For you two, talking about that bond with Brooke, obviously she's new to the full-time starting role here this season. Did it take a little bit of time to form that bond, or was that instant?
I mean, we were with Brooke last year, so we got to play a few games with you last year, so I mean, it didn't take long at all to be able to trust her like that.
And we also all came in the same year.
Yeah.
So we all came in last year, and we all were super close before that. So I think that helped having the past relationship too.
Brooke, is there pressure this year? First of all, you had big shoes to fill, but then also you're the only goalkeeper on the roster. They can't afford for you to go down injured. So how do you battle through all kinds of bruises, bumps and bruises here and there?
Yeah, it's definitely rough, but I just got to remember to keep fighting through it. I mean, I got to do it for my seniors too, and I mean, especially for them, and just to keep going. I mean, I know there's not a backup. Our backup could possibly be Selena, if worse comes to worse, but yeah, I just got to keep going through it, and I just do my best that I can.
You've had 10-plus saves on 4 occasions, including a 10-save performance on Sunday in the NAC Tournament Championship win at Illinois Tech. What goes through your mind during a matchup like that where it stays 1-0 for what feels like an eternity? Mm-hmm. How are you able to just keep your composure and not let the moment overtake you?
You know, I just got to stay locked in, and I'm just watching that ball, staying with it. I talk to my defense, I yell a lot, and I just got to stay in the game. I'm constantly pacing and just trying to be in it so I don't miss anything.
Were you at all nervous, and I'll ask the defense, same question, but were you at all nervous about the weather? You know, with a wind like it was, I mean, odd things can happen. Does that make you a little uneasy? Because you can't control that.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, in warm-ups, the balls were coming in so fast. I was very nervous, just the pace that they were shooting. I was like, this is great for my offenders, but for me, but you know, it turned out fine. And once you get in warm-ups and you get that, and I was familiar with it, it really helped me out, and you're able to do really well. So.
I think for you two, it's the mindset of a game like Sunday where it stays 1-0 forever, the weather, so many other things that you guys can't control. How do you go about just handling that whole situation, that pressure?
Yeah, it's definitely nerve-wracking. 1-0 is the worst for a defender because one mistake and you're tied up, and then that can lead to everything else. But
honestly, just like us communicating in the back there and staying strong, like that's all we can do in that situation.
Yeah, I think that in the beginning, like Selena said in the last episode, how we always start with a disadvantage. I think that kind of builds us up because we know that we want to have that advantage in the first half, and then we have the advantage the second half. So I think that if we get through the first half with the wind and everything else and all the difficulties, we can finish off the rest of the game.
For all three of you, how nice of a luxury is it to have an offense like you guys have where you guys do a great job defensively, and more often than not, the offense supplies that support as well.
Mm-hmm.
So great, because we know like if we can get the ball up to them, they're going to keep it, hopefully score, and then if they lose it, they're going to defend for us too, because they're the first line of defense, and that's all we can ask for.
Yeah, I think they do a really great job not only being an offensive player and scoring and doing those plays, but they do also work back and they help us in the defensive line, which helps majorly. So I think that also goes into all of us having each other's backs, because even our forwards will come all the way from the top of the field and come all the way back in to help us defend. So we all work together just to pull out that win.
Mm-hmm. And I absolutely love, like, when we do make a mistake or if I let in a goal, they're going to be the first ones that are working their butts off in trying to score that next goal. And when they do, it's the best feeling ever.
Mm-hmm.
Does your mood or mind ever change when you're playing with a 1-goal lead or a 2-goal lead or a 3-goal lead? Are you able to let your guard down a little bit at all? Or are you always in that same mode?
Definitely not. You gotta like just keep going, because you, like we were saying before, a 1-0 lead, we don't want that. We want 2, we want 3, we want 4. Just for that security, because one bad touch, one bad pass, and it could be a different story.
Andy, for you, bigger role this year, has it been a smooth transition?
I think that last year I was kind of transitioning into it a little bit, and this year I feel like I've gotten so much support from my teammates and the coaches especially. Just I have meetings with them and I ask them what more they want me to do, and I feel like they've made it a smooth transition for me and also my players, and these two have given me so much support. So I feel like it has been an easier transition for me, because I feel like even with those mistakes that I was making in the first part of the season, being as I had such a bigger role, I had everyone behind my back telling me that I have the next one, and that's brought me to my confidence that I have now. So,
Carmen, for you, a second straight year in being named All-Conference, what's been the big difference maybe from last year to this year for you and your play?
Honestly, I just feel so much more confident this year. Like, last year was my first season. I didn't really know what to expect. I was just very nervous. But everyone just built me up so much, and it gave me so much confidence this year to just, like, keep doing what I do.
Brooke, for you, and we'll talk about, your past and some of the big game experience you have, whether it be at the prep level to now here at the collegiate level, but when you look at your performances this year as a full-time starter, is there one that stands out among the rest?
Oh, man. I would say one of my biggest games was probably the Loris game. Just because, like, we knew the gravity coming into it, like, how big of a deal this would be if we could pull out the win or even the tie. And I just felt like our defense was so solid that game. And we just played so well. And I really love that. That was a good moment.
Now, for you, going back to your high school days, you played in the state tournament a couple of times. Are you anticipating this NCAA tournament to feel somewhat like that as far as the bigger stage? It means a lot more, or what are you maybe anticipating for Friday?
I definitely think it would feel a little bit like my senior year when we went to state. Just all the support that we've been getting and the awards and stuff. I think it's really leading us to this level. It's like, hey, this is big time. And I think I'm excited for the game, and I just can't wait to play, and I know we're going to do well. So.
Well, for you two, what are you anticipating for Friday? You think it's going to feel different? Are you expecting, hey, soccer ball, 2 goals, the same game, just a different environment? What are you anticipating?
Well, I think that it will be the same game in the aspect of, like, we know how important it is, and I think that the importance of us going into it, like, we're playing Dominican again, we're playing Edgewood again, we're playing whoever again, and we can beat them. If we have that mindset that we can do it, I think that we'll be able to pull through.
Yeah, we know we just got to keep doing what we've been doing these past few games. Like that's all we know. If we do that, then we're gonna be fine.
Well, the best of the three of you coming up on Friday. I certainly we're all cheering for the Falcons, and hopefully they get it done Friday. First round matchup against Illinois Wesleyan from La Crosse. Thanks and continued success. Welcome to our final segment in this women's soccer special as they prepare for the NCAA tournament against Illinois Wesleyan on Friday from La Crosse, and being joined by the winningest coach in program history, back for his 20th season, that being Ryan Minnendorf. And Coach, you look at this season, 17 wins, 3 losses, couple of ties. How would you summarize what's happened so far?
Everything's happened at the right time. We're as a program a big believer in that. So along the way, even some of the losses and some of the knocks that we took as the season progressed, they kind of happened at the right time. We were able to learn from those experiences, and I think really starting peaking at the right time.
I was going to say, do you feel like this team is hitting its stride or is at its stride at this moment?
100%, and that's what we had kind of talked about at the beginning of the season, and it's fun to see that progression throughout the season, that we're actually getting to where we were talking about at the beginning of the season, hitting our strides right now and just playing some of our best soccer.
During our first segment, where we talked with some key members of the offense, we broke down each tournament game, the win against Edgewood, the win against Dominican, the championship win against Illinois Tech. How about from a coaching perspective, what was key, or what did you feel in those 3 matchups was key to this championship
Oh
win?
my gosh, there's so many things. I can't put my finger on one specific element. I think just the whole team just kind of sticking together and fighting for one another and just scrapping in the right moments, and huge goalkeeping, obviously, and defensive moments, but then also putting away the chances when we needed to, and just relieving pressure sometimes when we needed to. And I think they just were on the same page throughout this little run that we're making.
So many proven scores, so many offensive weapons. How confident are you in the offense's ability to get it done?
Well, I know they're just going to keep scrapping, and we've got experienced players up there too, so I think now the pressures don't necessarily get to those players. I don't know a better way of saying that, but they just kind of rise to the moment, and they enjoy that moment, and that's what's fun about it. And they're just going to get themselves in the mix and give themselves opportunities, and hopefully we bury a few more in the upcoming games.
It's going to be a theme. I'll use the word confident again. How confident in this defense are you? A defense that, my goodness, 14 shutouts. That goals against average is well below 1. Only 15 goals allowed this season. That's pretty remarkable stuff.
It really is, and I don't think you realize it as the season's going on. We've been, and I think our backline players will tell you this. I think I've said it before on an interview. We're toughest on those backline players and our goalkeeper. We just are. The entire season we've been kind of on their case and just kind of making sure that they're taking steps with every game, every training session. And the last few weeks of the season, they've all, backline players and goalkeeping, have been playing just lights out.
And what have you seen from Brooke Braga? Obviously, we saw moments last year when she was able to fill in due to injury, some nice moments, and all of a sudden now full-time starter, it seems like her game's elevated even more so.
Yeah, Brooke's improvement and progression over the last year has been remarkable, and it all started with her summer months. She put in a ton of work this summer, kind of knowing that the expectations are higher for her, and she was going to be our starting goalkeeper. She needed to kind of hold that down, so she did a great job during the summer months. Our goalkeeping coach, Sam, did an outstanding job working with her and continues to, and working more so now on the mental side of things. And I think we're seeing that with Brooke right now, just becoming our rock in the back, somebody that we can trust and count on.
When you look at, and this may be difficult to answer because it's different eras, different teams. Okay, you went to the NCAA tournament in 2004, 2019, now here in 2022. How does this team compare or differ from those previous NCAA tournament teams?
Well, they're all special.
Mm-hmm.
They're all special, and all the players, on those teams hold a special place in my heart. But, in 2004, we were just this young group of kids. I was a kid still, and we didn't know what to expect, and it was just fun getting there. And then I think in 2019, we had a really young group. I think we were starting seven freshmen at the time. And, again, it was kind of that feeling of, oh, we got here. and it kind of ended there. Now we kind of the other end. Some of those players were in on that team, and they kind of bookend it. And now it's not just getting there. Now it's time to start winning some games and really start elevating this program. So I'm excited for the players, and I'm excited to see what's going to come of it.
What did you learn from those prior experiences that maybe can help you now this time through?
I think it's just preparation. The week leading up to the first round games is just, it's nuts. I mean, there's so many, there's calls you got to do. I mean, booking hotels, food, all these things that, logistically you got to take care of. But prepping for the game, not that we didn't before, but I just feel as a coaching staff, we're going to be much more prepared for the games when we get on the field.
Tell you those hotels and food, that's a good problem to have. What's your message to the team as you prepare for this week?
Just keep getting better. So every single day, and that's kind of been our message throughout the season. And we can still keep getting better. So in our training sessions this week, it's got to be focused. It's got to be, but at the same time, a little bit light. Our team responds best when they're having a little bit of fun, and but at the same time, they've got to be able to turn it on, and they do a great job of turning it on when they need to, and that's been evident in the last few games.
This is a very experienced team, and you mentioned there's a number of players on this team that were part of that team as freshmen back in 2019. But do you ever worry about overthinking this opportunity or being overwhelmed, or is it such an experienced team that isn't really something that goes with this squad?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, that sports psychology bit of it always plays a factor. But again, this is, you've said it, this is an experienced group that they've been here before. They've been in big games before. They've played against good players before. I think they're ready. So the last few weeks, we haven't actually talked much about our opponents, just to kind of take that element out of it so that they don't overthink it, if that's the right word, where they can just go in, concentrate on what they need to do for the match, and then just trust in their ability and the training that they've done leading up to the game.
When you have coached in the NCAA tournament in the past, has the game felt different? Does it feel like it's an NCAA tournament game? Does it feel once the game starts, it's just another soccer match?
Once the game starts, and you hear this in all levels of sports, that once the game starts, the whistle blows, it's the game. And it's usually the team that can just play within that game that ends up winning the game or winning the match. Leading up to it, though, there's so many things that are different. Just the way that you walk into the facilities, and there's signage everywhere, and it's things that's just a little bit different. There's routines that might be knocked off a little bit because we've got to stick to the protocol that's in front of us. So, but again, we've done that, and I think our players will know what to expect. They'll know all of those ins and outs, so that once the whistle does blow, it's just the game.
And one thing that's kind of nice is when you look across the way, it's a team that you have history against. You just saw Illinois Wesleyan last year, a tough 4-3 overtime loss. How do you go about preparing, or what do you expect from Illinois Wesleyan?
They're super athletic. They're on a roll right now. They have really come on as the season's gone on. Athletic, organized, but again, a team that we've seen in the past. So I was happy with that draw. Some familiarity there. And I think we match up pretty well. So we'll just see how the game unfolds, but I'm excited for it.
How does a neutral site come into play?
Does it? A little bit. I mean, we're familiar with lacrosse too. We've played up there a couple years ago, and so some of our players have played on that field before, and so that helps out a little bit. We don't have to travel as far as Wesleyan. I don't know if that plays into anything, but obviously there's not a home field advantage, and I think that's probably a really good thing. Not to play that home team in that first round game, I think is an advantage for us.
If you get by Friday, and I know you take it one match at a time, all of a sudden you look like a genius. You played a couple of back-to-back days, and you told me before the season even started that was the thought process. If we get to the NCAA tournament, you want to prepare this team for that quick turnaround. How do you feel your team handled that quick turnaround during the regular season?
Well, when we were down in Ohio for that back-to-back, afterwards I'm like, oh my God, I'm never doing this again. We were beat up. We were But now, I mean, that was the reason why I scheduled that, an away match back to back against two quality opponents, to kind of give our players a feeling of what that's like and how to prep their bodies and just be ready for it. Especially if we can play on that second day, what it's going to take. It's a tough weekend, and they know it. Our athletic training staff even understands how to handle that, and Nicole has a few things up her sleeve that kind of help us through it, things that we learned on that Ohio trip. So if we can play on that Saturday, I think we'll be ready.
Well, just like in 2019, the bus trip home after the NAC Tournament Championship came from the land of Lincoln back to Wisconsin. As you're sitting there on the bus, I'm sure your phone's blowing up. Did you get a chance to let it sink in a little bit, just what this season has become?
100%. The longer I've been doing this, the more I understand and just live in the moment and appreciate it, because it doesn't happen that often. Hopefully this is a consistent theme that we'll be doing this interview year after year, but it's hard. I mean, it is really hard to win that tournament, our conference tournament, and I've just learned to appreciate it and live in the moment a little bit more than what I used to.
Yeah, you make a great point, because there have been years where I think we've sat here and like, this team is destined to go to the NCAA tournament. It doesn't happen. There are other teams that make a better run that maybe wasn't anticipated. But as we wrap things up, when you look toward Friday, what do you see as being keys, or what do you want to see from your team? What needs to happen for the team to be successful?
We've been saying it all season, kind of our theme is togetherness and just kind of sticking together and kind of figuring this all out, kind of one step at a time, and not making the moment too big, but just living within it. And I think that's going to be the key. I mean, we just need to kind of a little sense of calm, embrace the pressure. We've talked about that as the season's been going on, that if you're not nervous, there's probably something wrong with you. You should be nervous. Like, that's natural. And how do we handle that? And so we've put them in some of those situations in the games and kind of added that pressure to them, kind of manufactured it somewhat so that they're ready for this moment. And I'm excited to see it.
Great stuff. Coach, as always, thanks out for your time. Congrats on the win. And they head again to La Crosse Friday, a first-round NCAA tournament matchup against Illinois Wesleyan. Be sure to stay tuned to CUWFalcons.com for complete NCAA tournament coverage. And thank you for watching our Women's Soccer NCAA Tournament Special.